Thank you very, very much for being here. For many of us, this is a very special occasion. 50 years of Portland Trailblazer basketball. And we've had some hard times, we've had excellent times, but we've had so many good times in this building. So we're going to have some fun in the next few months. Go back in time, if you will, and tell the story. And we want to thank all of you here today and those along the internet and streaming. And by the way, it was on this day in Portland Trailblazer history, on this very day, 1970, in the recognition of efforts by founder Harry Glickman, who you will hear from in a little while, the NBA Board of Governors granted Portland an expansion franchise that would change the face of professional sports all over the Pacific Northwest at that time. Beginning with the start of the 2019 and 2020 season, we're going to celebrate, as I mentioned, 50 years. Imagine, 50 years. It seems to me, I was there in those days, 50 years went like that. Incredible. And a lot has happened over the half century, successes, challenges, a world championship, of course, growth, excitement, and even the tragic losses of some of our individuals who are forever synonymous with this franchise. Owner Larry Weinberg, who passed away a few weeks ago. And of course, Maurice Lucas, Jerome Kersey, Kevin Duckworth, and Mr. Paul Allen. Today we're sharing just a few of the things that will happen throughout the next year, our golden anniversary, so would you please turn your attention to the video screens right now, and we'll hear from Trailblazer President Chris McGowan following.
You see, in 1970, a unique bond was formed between a team and a town. And together, the Rip City family was born. That first year, we drafted the Rookie of the Year. Not a bad start. Then we welcomed a big redhead and a coach whose suits were only outdazzled by his hoops expertise. We were red hot and rolling down Broadway with a trophy. Then a new era glided into the house and brought Blazer mania to the Northwest. 7'3" center hitting threes and backdoor cutters? Woo! Yeah, we kind of started that. As a family, we fought our way to the postseason for 21 straight years. And so far, 6 Hall of Famers have called Rip City home. So far. Next year, Rip City turns 50. And those unbelievable moments, huge shots, legendary characters, unforgettable wins, classic matchups, and painful losses will enter a rare volume of history.
That cast is good.
A family album with pages and pages left to fill.
A 3 for the game. The Portland Trailblazers have won the World Championship. Portland wins Game 4. The Blazers win the Western Conference Final. Everything going for CJ.
Game by game, moment by moment, Rip City lives on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for attending as we officially kick off our 50th anniversary season. I want to specifically acknowledge our staff. A lot of them are here in attendance right now, many of whom have been working for the last 2 years on putting together an amazing season-long celebration. I want to thank them, so let's give the staff a round of applause. I also want to note that Paul Allen was very enthusiastic about this anniversary, and he encouraged us to create a very memorable experience for our fans. We're obviously very saddened that he won't be able to participate with us, but as an organization, we are very committed to honoring his wishes for this celebration. We have a lot of fun activities planned, and we will be making several more announcements over the coming months, but I wanted to kind of tip off a few of the activities we have planned for our anniversary that we are particularly excited about. First, to officially kick off our 50th anniversary season, we're going to be playing a preseason game right here in the Veterans Memorial Coliseum on October 7th against the Denver Nuggets. That's something that, since I've been here in 2012, I've always wanted to do, and I'm really excited to be coming back and playing NBA basketball right here in a building that has meant a lot throughout our history. We've been hard at work with some partners of ours, in particular Adelsheim Vineyards, to create a special 50th anniversary wine, an Oregon wine that we're gonna launch in the marketplace, so stay tuned for that. The staff has been working very hard on what we're calling decade nights, and we're gonna have 5 of them over the course of next season, where we're gonna be celebrating specific eras of our history. And then lastly, we're going to be playing on a special commemorative court, and we're going to be wearing some very special uniforms next season as well. So, as I said, there's going to be many more activities announced over the coming months. We're committed to honor this anniversary, and we're working very hard to put together an anniversary celebration that we know our fans are going to be super excited about. So again, I want to thank you all for attending today, and I want to bring up to the stage the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Good, good. Well, listen, from my perspective, the Blazers represent much more than just a basketball team. They have been an essential part of the Portland experience for the last 50 years. Gritty, determined, ready for any challenge. They've literally been blazing trails. The Blazers represent everything that makes our city and our state great. Just think of all the gritty teams we've had over the decades. From the championship team of the 1970s to the Drexler, Porter, Duckworth, Kersey, Williams teams of the late 1980s and 1990s that battled Chicago and Detroit, to the early 2000 teams that had us cheering. And you remember what they had us cheering, right? Beat LA! Beat LA! That never gets old. To the current iteration of the Blazers, the smooth executing, fast breaking, three-point shooting team that has us all completely mesmerized. The Blazers grew exponentially under the late Paul Allen's stewardship to become one of the hottest teams in the NBA. And I'm very honored to be here on behalf of the city of Portland to help you all celebrate this major milestone. Look at me. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why isn't this guy on the team? Polite laughter. The truth is, I knew I could never be on the team, but I did want to be the Blazers' biggest fan. Now, I know you're saying he's the mayor, he's the politician. How big a fan is he really? Well, who remembers these? The Franz Bakery collector cards. Does anybody here remember that? How many people here remember these things? If you collected, excellent. I'll trade later maybe. We'll see what we can get. If you remember these, then you know that you were and that you are a true fan. They don't exist anymore. Portland has changed a lot over the last 50 years. And through all of it, the Trailblazers have provided a very important constant for our community. We've tuned in on our radio, then on our televisions, and now on our internet podcasts to cheer them on. And what an incredible ride it's been over all these years. The Blazers connect us all who work and live and travel in our great region. They connect us throughout to share joy in cheering on our team and coming together as a community to support something that's uplifting and positive. But perhaps more important than anything I've said so far about this team, the Trailblazers, is that we love them for their ethos as a basketball team. The reason that they're more than just a team to me is because of their deep investment in our community. They're not just here to play. They're here to help build and support who we are as a community. And they've gone out of their way to lift up all of those in our community who are in need. And they do it every single day. And it's for those reasons that I'm so honored to be here on this important 50th anniversary of the Portland Trailblazers. And I can only predict amazing things for the team and for this community in the years ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Ted. You're the mayor, but I'm the mayor of Rip City. Nice to have you with us. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce a gentleman I have known for a long, long time. And we talk about the Portland Trailblazers, but this day and many other days prior would not have happened if it wouldn't have been for one man. He's an icon, has been for years, great Trailblazer fan, but he worked so hard over a long period of time to have this city, Portland, Oregon, become a member of the National Basketball Association. I want to introduce to you, if you have not met him at all or seen him, I'm quite sure you know the name very, very well, a dear friend, but he's the guy that started it all, Mr. Harry Glickman.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm often asked who my favorite Trailblazer is. That's a very easy question. His name is Geoff Petrie. He was the first Trailblazer. Just as Arnie Smuts was my favorite Buckaroo, he was the first Buckaroo. Geoff was drafted by the Trailblazers when we received the franchise in February, and we had to get ready for the draft. We were competing against what was then the American Basketball Association. So luckily, and one of my first great moves was the hiring of Stu Inman, who drafted Geoff without ever watching him play, but he had a lot of friends whose word he trusted. And so the headline in one of our newspapers at the time said, "Portland drafts Geoff Who." Geoff Who became co-rookie of the year along with Dave Cowens of the Boston Celtics. If we'd have had the three-point line in his time, he'd still have the all-time record with Portland scoring. Wonderful to see you again, Geoff. Thanks for being here. Thank you for those kind remarks, Mayor Wheeler. When we got this franchise, we didn't have any support from any political groups, and we had very little from the media. I hope that changes now, because on the very day we got the franchise, which was on a Friday, we held a press conference the very next day saying we hope we have another major league team. And my biggest disappointment is we haven't had one to join us. I hope we don't have to wait another 48 years to get one. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
All right, Harry, thank you. We've been together for a long, long time. Harry mentioned our next speaker. And ironically, this morning I was going through some files and I found the score sheet of the first game that was played, 10-16-70, right here at Portland's Memorial Coliseum. The attendance that day, 4,273 people. we've gone a long way, baby, since that day. And on our team, just a few names: Rick Adelman, Jim Barnett, Leroy Ellis, Walt Gilmore, Gary Greger, Ron Knight, Ed Manning, Stan McKenzie, Dory Murray, Dale Sluter, Bill Stricker, and now I want to bring to the floor, Harry alluded to this, he was the first Trailblazer of all time, out of Princeton, became my friend. He was also a broadcast partner of mine. For a while I went on to bigger and better things. And people ask me all the time, who's your favorite player? And that's very, very hard to do. We've had some great athletes here. But I always say my favorite is our next guest, Geoff Petrie. Come on up here.
Oh, boy. 50 years. I mean, who would have thunk it, right? I feel really honored and privileged to be up here today and have a chance to speak to everybody. And I just want to embellish a little bit that, once again, I owe a great debt of gratitude to Harry, not just for drafting me, but for a lot of support and the opportunity to continue to work in the NBA after I was done playing, along with the ownership of Larry Weinberg and eventually Paul Allen. If it hadn't been for that, the whole Sacramento thing would have never happened. But without his vision and his commitment, none of this would have happened either, and I don't think anybody should ever forget that. It's an incredible story, and I think, as the mayor said, that the franchise now stands for so much more than just a basketball team. It's part of the fabric of the community. It's been built up year after year, and the franchise has had some incredible years. Fortunately, or luckily for me, I was at least part of the 70s and part of the 80s and part of the 90s. And what you learn from all that is that it's the people, the philosophy, the structure, the organization, and the commitment, not just to continue to try to win, but to try and make your organization part of the community that you live in. And there aren't many franchises that have done a better job than the Portland Trailblazers. There's just no question about that. So I was asked to say a little bit about what it was like to be drafted #1 by the Trailblazers and being Rookie of the Year. And basically, I didn't know a whole lot about Portland, and as Sean said, Portland didn't know a whole lot about me. When you told people back east that you were from Portland, they said, "Oh, Portland, Maine, that's a nice place." But I fell in love with it when I first arrived here. Obviously, being part of something that was new and in its infancy, basically. I can remember going around and we were making appearances to promote the team at Dairy Queen's for $15 and things like that. But as even that season went along, as young as it was, the commitment of the fans and the excitement of the fans, and we started to beat some good teams finally, and it's all grown from there, obviously. Winning Rookie of the Year and playing in the All-Star game that year were two of the greatest thrills of my life. Playing at Memorial Coliseum as the years went on and the team gradually started to get a little bit better. Then, of course, there was the championship year, which I was not a part of in '77, but that was a great period of time, in Portland and with the franchise. But it's been an incredible journey for me and a much greater journey for the Trailblazers and where they have arrived to today. And I think everybody can look forward to just a a great celebration of all these different decades and all the great players that have been through here over the years and brought so much enjoyment for their skill and their commitment to the team. It's really been a great run overall. And you know, I still follow the team, not like I used to, or I don't follow any team like I used to, because when you get to my age now, it's more about you know, old dogs and grandchildren and watermelon wine kind of thing. But anyway, I'm really honored to be here, and I hope the whole celebration goes off without a hitch, and that the Trailblazers get back to the playoffs this year and get out of that first round and have a great run. Thank you very much.
I also have to add, Geoff was, this is a little sidebar story, I guess it's not really a story, but he turned out to be my best man when Dottie and I got married. He still is a good guy, I tell you that. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very, very much. We're looking forward greatly to what's going to happen, let alone the rest of the season. Of course, we're pulling for our current team as we move into the 51st season, but we want to share with everybody all over the country, and for that matter, all over the world, the next few years, so we can all have a great time. Thank you again for coming. As far as the media is concerned, we're now going to have some questions, if there are any. Rep City.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you actually are free to go. Members of the media, if you would come forward, we're going to have you guys speak with our speakers up here in front, and then we'll wrap this up. Thank you.